It's a true honor to represent Hollis on the County Commission, and before that in the State Senate. So tonight I want to talk a little bit, some baseline information, particularly for our constituents who may not be super familiar with county government, the County Commission, and how that might play a role in understanding Hollis's role in how to access different programs and services, and as it relates to the budget. So I have provided the Select Board a packet, and that is the 2023 annual report. This is a new publication. It's something that I've been pushing for since I was elected to this role, and happy to see it's finally implemented. So it is something that you can expect on an annual basis, and it breaks down not only budgetary information, but also key data points related to specific departments within county government, a little bit about each department, contact information for the commissioners. Basically, if you want to know anything about what's happening within county government, this annual report is a good reflection of that. For those tuning in from home and other places, you can access this report on the York County website, yorkcountymaine.org. So I want to start off with what is county government. In many states, the role of a county commissioner is a very important one. Outside of New England, county government tends to play a much larger role in everyday life than even the municipal level. In some places, county government is responsible for things like maintaining roads and bridges, caring for our physical and mental health, administering our elections, ensuring public safety, and strengthening environmental stewardship, and much more. On the other end of the spectrum, Rhode Island and Connecticut don't even have county governments at all. In New England, we tend to favor localized control, closer to the people, and as a result, county government has a little bit more of a reduced power and authority compared to other parts of the country. That doesn't mean, however, that county government and our structure isn't beneficial or important. Far from it. So York County's government structure involves a full-time manager and 5 elected part-time county commissioners split up amongst 5 districts. Our district is number 3. And there are 6 positions elected countywide: district attorney, sheriff, judge of probate, register of deeds, and treasurer. And our administrative office is located in the county seat in the town of Alfred. So just think of the County Commission as a regional version of the Select Board. We have an annual budget overseen by a separate and independent budget committee that hovers in the mid-$20 million range. For comparison, the city of Saco budget is nearly double that figure. Commissioners are elected to 4-year terms and are the chief elected officials responsible for fiscal operations and policy decisions affecting county government. The Commission's jurisdiction and responsibilities include oversight of our jail, 2 of the largest registry of probate and deeds in New England, part of the district attorney's office, a domestic violence program, an addiction treatment program, law enforcement for about half of our 29 municipalities, and countywide emergency management. We are in the process of building a new recovery center and public safety training center, which will be added to that list of ongoing programs that we will be responsible for. Additional duties include municipal tax appeals for towns that do not have a board of tax appeals, and we have quite a few of those. Commissioners also provide representation on various regional boards and committees. For instance, I'm the county representative on the executive committee of the Southern Maine Planning and Development Commission. Just a note about the budget process, as we'll talk a little bit about the budget tonight. The county budget process includes county commissioners hearing budget presentations from the county manager and various department heads, usually in late March or early April. After the commission passes the initial version of the budget, it then goes to the county budget committee, where where they will have their own deliberations and their own public hearing for Hollis residents and anyone in the county to participate in, usually in May of each year. The budget committee is composed of 3 members from each of the 5 commission districts, which 2 being elected municipal officials and 1 representing members of the public. The members are selected at an annual caucus, typically held in April, where any elected official, including Mary and Jack, can participate in the selection process of who is on the budget committee. It also can have a non-voting member from the legislative delegation. The committee then adopts its version of the budget, submits it back to the commission, who can either adopt it or modify it. If commissioners decide to modify it, then it goes back to the budget committee for final passage, either by overriding the commission or agreeing with the changes made in that final step of the process. The budget has to be adopted by July 1st. We're fortunate to have a Hollis representative on the Budget Committee, Becky Bowley. I think we're familiar with Becky's work. We still have 2 other vacancies for our commission district on the Budget Committee. So while we can't have another Hollis representative on there, I would highly encourage the rest of the towns in our district to send representatives. It helps our whole area when we have adequate representation on the Budget Committee. I have provided the Select Board a recent budget in reference to what the breakdown represents for Hollis's portion of the budget, so you have that before you. And we'll sort of get into each of the departments, but essentially you can see the breakdown, the $300,000 plus that Mary had referenced in relation to the $25 million budget that we have for the entirety of the county. So you can see that portion specifically for Hollis. Now, how can Hollis residents participate in both the budget process or our typical meeting structure? Well, the commission meets the first and third Wednesday of each month. I think it's similar to another meeting structure that we have here, but ours is at 4:30 in the afternoon. I did fight pretty hard to try to get those meeting times changed to the evening. I think, and you probably noticed this, you can have more folks participate when it's in the evening, after work hours. So I do find that is a big barrier for folks to participate in our meetings, being in Alfred. I will say, though, our meetings are hybrid. So much like I think we're seeing here in Hollis, it's available by Zoom. You can testify, you can speak via Zoom, so you don't even have to leave the confines of your house. You can participate in those meetings, and any resident can speak during public comment, which we have at the beginning and the end of every single meeting. And we have a newly renovated commission meeting room at our administrative building, and it has new technology, so it really makes it a lot easier for folks to interact with the commission. So I just want to talk briefly about each of the departments and how it might relate to Hollis. So Emergency Management Agency is really to lessen the impact of disasters and in times of need. So the EMA folks at the county level really focus on coordination and training in 4 particular areas of emergency management: preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation. So here are some specific ways the county EMA officials work with the town of Hollis. We work closely with Hollis Fire Chief Chris Young, specifically around emergency management for the town, as well as homeland security planning. We worked with Hollis on damage assessments and documentation for FEMA public assistance regarding the winter storms last year. We coordinated local response and power outage restoration prioritization to several storms through the York County Emergency Operations Center, which is activated during times of disaster. We provided resources to Hollis EMA and first responders, such as emergency light towers and signboards. We assisted with funding and planning of hazmat ops training for Hollis Fire Department. We provided several trainings, exercises, and workshops for Hollis EMA. Some examples include sheltering, weather hazards, hazard and threat analysis, and grants. And we collected required information and hosted meetings for Tier 2 reporting facilities and first responders in Hollis. So I think it's always important to just come back to what's happening in Hollis as it relates to the county, and I think that does a good breakdown just in the past year how just one county department has engaged with your local town officials. More broadly, the York County EMA hosted 41 trainings, 5 tabletop exercises, and functional active shooter exercises with first responders and school officials from several York County communities. There were 22 York County activations regarding response coordination, information sharing, management during times of need. So I think that's critical. And then York County EMA responded to a major recent disaster and advocated heavily to secure $20 million in federal reimbursements to municipalities that sustained heavy damage to public infrastructure. And they've also been working on updated alerts that folks can sign up for, the RAVE system. So that's a little bit about York County EMA. District Attorney's Office serves everyone in York County. In calendar year 2023, there was nearly 8,000 cases presented to the District Attorney's Office by local and state agencies. York County Sheriff's Office provided 805 of those. And just in reference to Hollis, during, let's say, January 1 of this year to now, to August 31st, there were 76 cases referred to the York County District Attorney's Office from various law enforcement agencies, from crimes ranging from low-level motor vehicle charges to charges of domestic violence that occurred within the town of Hollis. So 76 cases, just to kind of put it in perspective. Our Victim Witness Advocacy Program, which has full-time victim witness advocates, assisted the public and continue to assist the public who needs to interact with our court system via the District Attorney's Office. They help provide valuable expertise and help navigating the court system and how to file different paperwork. And just to give it a sense of restitution collection and what the payout to victims represents, District Attorney's Office paid out over $300,000 just in the last year alone through that program. Sheriff's Office, you're probably most familiar. It's one of our most public programs that folks associate with the county. Our jail is the second largest within the state of Maine. It's actually considered a flagship facility because of how it's run. Our jail provides a number of different programs to the residents there with direct supervision at the facility. We boast the largest medically assisted treatment, or MAT, program amongst all the county jails in the entire state. And that is about returning inmates to society and in a productive manner. We provide policing services to 14 out of the 29 municipalities, so that's quite significant. The patrol division handled 28,000 calls for service in 2023. Now, while the Sheriff's Office doesn't normally patrol Hollis, they do provide backup and respond with the state police when they're not available. So they either co-respond with the state police depending on the severity of the situation, or at night when they don't patrol. This collaboration is critical to ensuring Hollis residents are kept safe and have adequate public safety response. Something that for all of us to be very mindful of, and I know this is an issue that has come up before for the Select Board, is the state police's long-term commitment to providing rural patrol. It's something that our legislative delegation should be mindful of, and something we should all keep a close eye on if that's something that will change in the future. Again, we don't have any indication of that, but what we're seeing across the state is the state police are pulling out of rural communities, and then that burden then falls to property taxpayers, usually in the form of added staff either on the sheriff office's patrol unit or a contract deputy. So just to kind of give you a sense of what happened in Hollis from January 1 to present, state police have responded to a total of 935 calls in Hollis so far this year, and the Sheriff's Office was a part of 213 of those, but probably a good chunk of those end up getting referred to other law enforcement entities. Our Sheriff's Office also was involved with DEA, so the Drug Enforcement agency for the state, and there was a significant drug operation that occurred within the town of Hollis, and I'm sure folks have followed that pretty closely. It did lead to an arrest regarding aggravated trafficking of scheduled drugs, and a residents being condemned because of that activity. So that's just another example where partnerships matter. The Sheriff's Office partnering with other law enforcement agencies to keep Hollis residents safe. And then Registry of Deeds, usually that comes into play for real estate transactions. Just to kind of give you a sense of the scope, in the calendar year 2023, the York County Registry of Deeds Office recorded 41,000 documents and 521 plans. So a lot of activity there. I would say a lot of work is taking place to continue to digitize records, as well as the Registry of Probate. And the probate court and registry of probate are another key element of county services. Probate courts are still taking place at our York County Courthouse. So I know everyone's probably familiar with the new Judicial Center in Biddeford, where that consolidated the district courts and the Superior Court system. We still utilize our York County Courthouse for the probate court, for the Registry of Probate, Registry of Deeds. We are renovating certain aspects of that building, which, as you can imagine, can be quite a task to rent out that space to recoup some of the operational cost of still maintaining that space to area nonprofits and other groups looking for cheaper rental space. But the hope is to help supplement our operational costs with those added spaces. So just a fun factoid, our probate court and our registry of probate, they're actually a certified passport acceptance facility too. So if you need your passport, they accept appointments. And we just recently moved the probate court system to the first floor of the York County Courthouse. It's a much better space, much larger space to accommodate proceedings, safer. It's infused technology so you can better hear. So there's hearing improvement for accessibility purposes and conference area space. We've actually seen a 46% increase in the number of filings in our probate court system since 2019. 46%. So that just speaks to the volume. In 2023 alone, we saw and served nearly 4,000 people in the probate court system just in York County. And I won't keep going on. I know I'm probably going way over time, but some of the federal monies that we received $40 million from the federal government, ARPA, in rescue dollars, if you will. That money was split up into several large-scale projects to benefit county residents. One is a training center, so it's a public safety training center where fire, police, other law enforcement agencies can really come together and train. And this is something that we don't have in York County, and we absolutely needed it to really empower the next generation of first responders. So this is going to be a 45,000 square foot training facility built on county-owned land. It's worked its way through the planning board process. It's been approved, and we hope to do a groundbreaking. I think we were talking about groundbreaking ceremonies earlier tonight, and we hope to have a groundbreaking ceremony later this fall. But there'll be a number of elements to the facility that will, again, really benefit first responders and those that are seeking to go into that field. And we are in desperate need of folks going into and really putting their lives on the line to support our communities. So we're really excited that this is going to really create a regional partnership with not just law enforcement, but colleges and universities and other in hospitals and utilities. Everyone's going to come together to support that. And then the other big project is the Recovery Center. Obviously, we all know the ravages of the opioid epidemic. This new recovery center on county-owned land again is really going to be helpful. The state has called it a game changer. Everyone's looking to us for leadership on this issue. We know how to do this. We have the Layman Way Recovery Center, which is a current 24-bed addiction treatment program for inmates. This will be open to any York County resident. So unlike our current program that's specific for the jail, Hollis residents could absolutely take advantage of these services. So we really hope that having a full continuum of care at this recovery center, including detox beds, short-term and long-term recovery programs, outpatient programs, and case management, one-stop shop for recovery and healing will be critically important for our county. That also has been approved by the planning board in Alfred, and again, we hope to begin really the hard work and the groundbreaking ceremony later this fall. Other initiatives we've been working on in trying to engage and support our unhoused population. The York County Budget Committee did add about $125,000 from our last budget to help combat homelessness and work with various providers to help keep people in their home and also get folks into housing. Those are critical things. And so we have a York County Homeless Response Hub that works with various providers to help achieve that. So I know I've probably gone way over time, but that I hope just gives you just a glimpse of some of the great work that's taking place at the county level. I know sometimes it can feel like it's kind of removed from everyday life and you may not hear as much about it, but there are things that we're doing and taking into consideration to help connect people to this information. We have a staff member who used to work at one of the local newspapers that is writing media stories for us. So you probably have seen more information out into things like the Waterboro Reporter regarding county activity and county government work. That's part of our efforts. YorkCountyMaine.gov, brand new website. It's interactive. It has budget information. It has the latest updates of what's happening in the community. I've started my own blog at CommissionerChenette.com to kind of walk through the things that I'm working on as part of the county. And so I think part of those initiatives are just helpful to connect folks to what's happening so that you feel empowered to make informed decisions. And then you can let me know, too, what you like, what you dislike. And so we can take that feedback into advisement as we go forward with our work.